Hello and welcome back. So the guitar is hanging to the side now and the clear coat of lacquer is drying, so we can't really touch the body yet. And so we have about a week, actually more than that, that we don't really have anything to do because we can't really work on the guitar. So I was thinking we'd go through the electronics and I'll show you basically how to do it, and we'll make a video where maybe it's a little bit too detailed, but you know, just to have a video or something, I don't know. Let's get going with the wiring of the guitar, okay? Okay, so the wiring is actually kind of easy. You have a pickup, looks like something like that. You have two wires that comes out of it, and one is ground. Let's make it this one. We'll make it G here or something. That's a ground. And then you have two pots. They look something like this. And they have three little legs that stick out. It's the ones you use to basically put wires into, as you can see here. And then you have an output jack as well, something like this. And all you need to do is you take the ground wire from the pickup, connect it to all of the parts. It is super simple. I understand if people get confused, but it's basically just a question of grounding. You have a wire that comes from the bridge. Let's make the bridge over here, and some saddles. And you have a ground wire that comes from there as well. That's all you have. You need to ground everything together. Then the pickup has a lead wire. I'll make an L here. And that goes there. And then, because this is basically a resistor, but a resistor that doesn't have a set value, but one that you can change by moving the knob. So it's basically, you're just pulling that wire through the entire pot by soldering to it, and then the connection comes out on this side and it goes to the output jack on the lead of the output jack. So if you look at a jack, you have the ground, it's the connecting to the shaft or whatever you want to call it. Make some nice jokes in the comments below. And then you have the tip, that's the lead. And you just need to make sure that they connect to the output jack the correct way. Here I have an output jack, and as you can see, when I put it on, the ring here, which is ground, gets connected to the sleeve, and this little thing that sticks up here gets pushed up against the tip. And that's how you know that they are connected. You usually use different colors, but I only have black pen, so if this is confusing. Then you take a capacitor and you ground it to the back of the pot, so that it's and then you put it into the middle lug. And the reason why you do that is because when you blend the pot, you're asking how much of it you want to go to ground, basically. And then you connect it in to the same, you put a lead wire in where the pickup goes into it, so you can decide how much of the signal you want to blend in. I hope this makes sense. It will make sense in a second when we actually do it. So you have ground wire connects everything to everything, and then you have a bridge ground wire as well. You have a lead wire that goes to the in of the connections on the pot and connects the tone to the volume, and then the out, where the signal comes out, which is the middle one, to the jack, so that you can basically just decide how much volume you want, basically. You could also just have both of these two wires going directly to the jack if you don't want any controls. And if you want to switch because you have multiple pickups, which is not something we're going to do on this guitar, but then you would just have the switch in between here. And you would have the switch here and the different pickup wires coming to it, and then a wire from the switch to the volume pot. So let's now wire this up. So if this is looking confusing, it won't anymore. What I do is I measure out the holes that I have in the guitar, and then I put them on a piece of scrap wood that I'm gonna throw away anyway, and then I can just drill holes and put my pots through. So I have a cap here, soldered and grounded off, just like we already talked about. And now we just need to start putting in the wires. And so we're gonna start off with a ground wire. So the first thing we need to do is ground the connections to the back of the pot, because otherwise it won't really be grounded. So we put the leg back a bit, and we heat up a bit of solder, and now we can start putting down our different wires. Usually you will use black wires as your ground wires. So you put some solder on the wire, you heat it up, you press them together, feed some solder into the connection. You hold it down and you wait a couple of seconds so it cools. You let go. You can tug a little bit on the wire, see it still works. And you pull the wire to the next component. Don't pull them tightly, have them a bit loose. And then you cut off a bit, and you strip the wire back. Like so. You put a bit of solder on the wire, and you put a bit of solder on the component. Like that. And put the wire in. Heat it up. Feed a bit of more solder. Get a good connection. Hold the wire in place with a screwdriver or something similar. And hold it there for a second or two, and then you let go. And now that wire is in place. Now the next thing we need to do is we need a connection wire for the pot. And so we're going to take this tiny bit of wire. You usually use red for your lead. Put a bit of solder on the wire. Feed it through the hole in the pot. Might be hard to see what I'm doing. I'm sorry if my hands are in the way. Feed it through. Leave it to cool. And then we feed it through that one right there. Now, this is not the pickup that we're going to use, but let's pretend it's the one we're going to use, because usually you will maybe pre-wire everything and then afterwards put it into the guitar and then pull the wires through the holes in the guitar, and then you will solder in the pickup. But we are not there yet since we don't have the body right now, so I'll just put that in there and we'll ground the pickup. And so sometimes a pickup will have like a white wire and a bare wire, and then the bare one is the one that is ground. So I'm just gonna heat them up, something like that. It doesn't look that nice right now maybe, but it's okay because we're not gonna actually use that pickup. I am just putting this pickup in here because I want to make it easy for you to see what it is I'm talking about, in case you find it hard to understand what it is I'm talking about or something. And then the next thing we need is a lead wire for the connection out to the output jack, just like I've already said. So we're just gonna pre-tin this wire and put it in, something like that. And then we're gonna do the same thing on the back. We're gonna pre-tin this wire. We're gonna put some more solder down on the pot because we're gonna need it. And then we have two wires here that we connect to the jack. The ring is a ground wire and the lead is the tip. And then the last thing we need to do before this is done is we need to add the ground wire for the bridge. And it's simple, just the same thing as we've already done. You just add a bit of solder to the wire and then you put this ground wire in too, just like the rest of them. You hold it in, leave it, and so yeah, that's basically it. You can pre-tin these wires as well. And you can make yourself one of these. I've shown you in another video, and it makes it very easy to visualize and also to hold it in place when you're working. And so I can very easily see now, oh, this is the ground wire, it needs to go there. So let's put it there, even though I need to remove it afterwards, just so you can see how the wires are supposed to go. Something like that. So here we basically have the finished kit. You have the pickup over here, gets connected here, the ground wire goes to ground, and the lead wire goes to the first pin that goes all the way around and comes out in the middle pin that goes to the jack. You have all the ground wires that connects all the connections, so everything is grounded. It goes to the bridge, which is the one we have here that isn't connected because we don't have a bridge right now to connect it to. So you're just gonna have to imagine it. All we need now is basically we're gonna have to remove this pickup, obviously, because we're not gonna use it. And we're gonna remove the jack so it fits in the guitar. But then we're just gonna drop everything in, connect this wire to the bridge, and then we're gonna solder this in place and solder in the new pickup with all the wires pulled through the guitar body. I know this was maybe not the most interesting part of the guitar building video, but I hope it helped, and it's something you need to know if you're gonna build guitars. So I hope you learned something. Let me know in the comments below if you did. And I'll see you in the next video. Okay? Awesome. Bye bye.